Hey, what's up? Here we have MPM-09 Masterpiece Movie Jazz. This was released in the winter of 2019 and retailed for about $90 US or $120 Canadian. And this is the only official version of Masterpiece Jazz we've ever gotten from any toy line because, you know, they won't make a G1 one for some reason. But inside the box, all you get really is the instructions, the toy, and some accessories. So let's take a quick look at those. You got the instructions right here, which aren't actually that terrible for Hasbro instructions, which is kind of nice. You get the actual cannibal himself, Shia LaBeouf. We'll touch on that later. You get his shield blaster thing, which looks like a tie striker when it's folded up. And you get this, which we'll cover later. It's weird. Anyways, you also get, obviously, the figure itself, Jazz, packaged in car mode, but I'm going to start in robot mode because I shot the robot mode scenes first, so we're doing that. So, Jazz here actually looks really good. Jazz, for me, was the toy that really got me into collecting Transformers back in 2007, so this figure holds a little bit of a special place for me. It comes in at about 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters tall, so your average deluxe scale-ish. The surface detailing is really nice. You got some gold and copper accents there. No red for the taillights on the hips, but that's because they're on the back of the legs instead. Got the license plate there and a really impressive looking head sculpt. On the back of the figure, there are those taillights I mentioned. You got some gold there for the joints. You have really nice clear plastic red pieces for the lights on the back, and the spoiler is where it's supposed to be, which for some reason on Jazz toys is very hard to do. It just looks like a spitting image of what came off screen, and I'm really glad this thing exists. There are a couple of design nitpicks I have, like the shoulders are a little too wide and the backpack's a little too sticky outy, but I mean, that's passable. Next to a couple of other figures here, we got Deluxe Hoist and Transform Element Beetle, and he's about deluxe scale, but also MPM scale if you're looking at Beetle, because he's a smaller character, so a smaller figure. But overall, he scales pretty well with the MPM stuff, and you know, it's deluxe size. Now this thing broke. It broke. Follow me on Twitter, please. Anyway, the accessories this guy comes with, as we previously mentioned, are the shield gun, Sam Witwicky with Allspark, and that weird thing sitting in the front. So Sam Witwicky here, he's got no face paint as Takara normally does with their minifigs. No posability on this guy, and I mean, to be honest, that's for the better. It makes more of the budget go towards the toy, which is nice. You do also get his shield gun thing right here, which is one of my favorite weapons for a Transformer because it's both a shield and a gun. It's like something out of Ruby. But there's the connection point at the back. It's got some nice gold paint on it and nice silver paint, and as I said before, it looks like a tie striker when folded up. But overall, it's really nicely detailed and I quite like it. Now this thing. So, to attach the gun, what you want to do is just take it and slot it right over the hand. Very easy. It looks very, very nice. However, it does weigh down the arm just a little bit, which is kind of unfortunate, but that might just be my copy because I always get stuck with the janky copies of things, as we've seen before. But overall, it looks really nice and incorporates very well into the overall design, and you know, looks very accurate. It just removes very easily as well. No sticky tabs or clicking, so that's nice. Now this thing. To get that other accessory attached, what you want to do is press this button here, and well, it does this. Yeah, so you can actually recreate his death. Here are the legs. It's just legs. I don't know why they included this, but it's a thing you can do, and it's really morbid and creepy, and I don't display my Jazz like this, but these just attach to the bottom here, and it clicks into place. And there you have Jazz's spinal cord. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna remove it, so yeah, let's just take that off, and we're never gonna display that like that again. Let's just attach the bottom back on, and boom, Jazz is back to looking like a normal toy. So articulation wise, the head does swivel, and it has a hinge joint. It swivels a full 360 degrees. You can also flip up the battle mask, which is really cool. Really nice feature. You got his eyes there. Looks really weird without the battle mask, so I display mine with it down. The shoulders are on a plethora of joints. They can do all sorts of things. They can only go out that far, but they do have a butterfly joint, which is really nice. Love when they have butterfly joints. You do a full 360. However, that does move the joints in the shoulders, so you kind of gotta move them out of the way, get your finger in there. It's kind of annoying to figure out. He does have a bicep swivel, which is a little bit hindered by the armor. 90-degree-ish bend at the elbow, but it is a double joint, so I kind of wish it did more than 90 degrees. The wrist doesn't swivel, but it can bend in and out and up and down, and the fingers can move, and they have a hinge at the knuckle, so that's pretty cool. And this piece comes untabbed all the time, which is kind of annoying. Let's tab that back in. He does have a ratcheted waist joint, which I wish more toys had. They need this. The hips are pretty cool, so these hip skirt armor can move out, and these flaps can flap. The legs can go out, they can go forward. They have a drop down the hip to make it go forward a little bit more, which is really nice. Love that. You can get a nice high kick. They can go back that far. You got a thigh swivel at the top of the thigh. Double jointed knee, which bends pretty well. The armor does kind of get in the way a bit. And the ankle cannot move up, it can move down, and you do have a slight amount of ankle tilt. And the toes are die cast, and these bits at the side of the ankles, they're die cast. That's the only die cast I can find on this guy. Overall, the robot mode is definitely really good and definitely worth the price of admission. It's really accurate. Like I said, there's a couple of nitpicks, the shoulders being too wide and the backpack being a little too big, but other than that, it's downright perfect. It's definitely worth the price just for the robot mode alone. Now the transformation is easier when you split it in half. It's kind of cheating, but I do that anyways, so I'm doing that here. Everything fits together really well and solidly. There is some stuff you gotta push past other parts that kind of stress the joints a little bit, which I'm not a big fan of, but overall the transformation works as intended, unlike the last figure we looked at. Now Jazz turns into a Pontiac Solstice, concept Pontiac Solstice from 2006, 2007-ish. And the reason it's concept is because of the hard top. It was only released, to my knowledge, as a soft top, and it looks very accurate to the vehicle mode seen in the movie and in real life, to that matter. Kind of short, squat, stocky sports car looking thing. They put a lot of clear plastic all over the place, and it's not painted clear plastic around it. Those are clear plastic inserts, which is always nice because that's less paint chipping you have to worry about. They got the floodlights, the headlights, and the windshield done as well. The front just overall looks amazing because that's exactly what the car looks like in real life. Next to a couple figures here, you got Hoist and the actual MPM-B, and he scales pretty well with MPM-B, but he's about deluxe scale. That's why I've got Hoist in there. Which to some people might make him look like he's not worth the price, but I mean, in this shot right here, he's definitely worth it. Look at him, it scales very well. Also, this thing's here. Just, I'm not transforming that thing ever again because the leg panels have fallen off and it's died and I don't like it anymore. Looks cool still though. Here he is next to MPM Megatron, the bringer of his death. And he's very small in comparison to this, but what you have to understand is Megatron is massive compared to anything. He rolls quite well too, which is nice to see, and that's pretty much it for the car mode here. It looks very nice. Looks spot on, and in my opinion, one of the best vehicle modes that they've been able to pull off and be extremely accurate to the source material and the film. Now, just to show you here, here's what the weapon storage is like. You got a little clip at the bottom that clips onto the spoiler. Now, I will say that has the potential to scratch the paint off the spoiler, so I wouldn't do that too often. And here's Shia LaBeouf standing next to Jazz, and that's pretty much how a human would scale next to a Pontiac Solstice. So I like how that looks. That looks pretty spot on, scaling wise. And just in case you're curious, here's Shia LaBeouf standing next to Bumblebee, which is the figure he probably should have come with, but he didn't for some reason. But yeah, there he is next to his pal Bumblebee. Moving these aside, bringing Jazz back into frame. Again, this car mode is just... I'd also say this car mode is worth the price of admission. It's very, very good. It fits in the palm of your hand as well. It's about the size of like an average cell phone. So yeah, there's no license plates on this guy. However, the license plate is underneath, which I think is kind of funny. They probably should have incorporated the license plate on the car somewhere, but they didn't. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, this car mode is very solid and fits together and looks really nice and is spot on to the source material. Overall, Jazz is a definite recommend. I definitely say pick this up if you have the time and or money, because it's not exactly the cheapest thing in the world, but it's still pretty cool. I got mine on sale at Toys R Us, and if you live in a country that still has Toys R Us's, this goes on sale semi-frequently. So if they're open right now, I'm not sure if they're open, go pick one up. I definitely recommend it. The weird split in half gimmick though, I don't understand that. That's just weird. He does fit into MPM Megatron's hands, but not very well. There's no tabs or clips or anything, so you can't actually hold him properly and rip him in half. You gotta like bend Megatron's thumbs and stuff. But I mean, you can just take that little guts thing and throw it in the box like I do, and you're fine. You don't need it. But yeah, that has been my look at the Transformers movie masterpiece, MPM-09 Jazz. That is a mouthful, just like all masterpiece toy names are. And go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you want updates and cool photography shots of toys. And I will see you in the next video. Au revoir.